First muscles I'll go over for the appendicular muscles are the deltoid muscles. This muscle right here is the clavodeltoid, and it originates at on the clavicle, and it inserts into the ulna. And its action is to protract and abduct the humerus. This muscle right here, this one's called the acromiodeltoid muscle. It originates at the acromion process, and it inserts at the proximal part of the humerus. And when contracted, it raises and rotates the humerus outward. And the last one is right here. It's a bit roughly done, but this one's the spinodeltoid, and it originates at the spine of the scapula, and it inserts into the proximal end of the humerus. And its action is to raise and rotate the humerus outwardly. The next muscles are the muscles that move the forelimb. And the first one of these is going to be the biceps brachii. And it originates from the coracoid process of the scapula, and it inserts into the deep fascia of the forearm. And its action is for the flexion of the elbow, and it supinates the forearm. The one next to this right here is the brachialis, and it originates from the humerus and inserts into the coracoid process of the ulna. And its action is for the flexion of the elbow and to supinate the paw. And next to this right here, we've got the triceps brachii. This is the lateral head right here, this big one, and and it originates from the humerus and inserts into the olecranon process of the ulna. The one next to it is the long head, and this one originates from the scapula and also inserts down into the olecranon process of the ulna. And both of their actions is to extend the forearm, but the long head also adducts the shoulder. And the last one is the brachioradialis, which on this side has been destroyed, so we're going to go over to this side, and this muscle right here. And this is the brachioradialis, and it originates from the humerus and inserts into the distal radius, and its action is to flex the arm. Now the flexors and the extensors, the triceps are what extend, so the triceps are for extension, and the biceps are for flexing. The next muscles are the superficial muscles of the hind limb. The first one of these muscles is going to be the sartorius, which is this big muscle right here. And the sartorius's origin is in the anterior superior iliac spine, and its insertion is down into the tibia. And its action is to flex, abduct, and laterally rotate the thigh, as well as to help flex the knee. Right here, this muscle. There we go. This one is called the gracilis, and its origin is the inferior ramus and the body of the pubis, and it inserts into the medial surface of the tibia. And its action is to adduct the thigh, flex, and medially rotate the leg. The next muscles are the deep muscles of the hind leg. The first one right here is called the There we go. This one's called the vastus lateralis, and its origin is the greater trochanter, the intratrochanteric line, and the linea aspera, and it inserts into the patella and the tibial tuberosity, and its action is to extend and stabilize the knee. Now next to that, right here, move this aside, so this muscle right here, this is called the rectus femoris, and its origin is the iliac spine and the acetabulum, and it inserts into the patella and the tibial tuberosity, and its action is to extend the knee and flex the thigh at the hip. The next one next to this, right here, this is called the vastus medialis, and its origin is the linea aspera, and it inserts into the patella and the tibial tuberosity as well, and its action is to extend the leg. The next one right over here, this muscle here is called the adductor longus, and its origin is the pubis, and it inserts into the linea aspera, and its action is to adduct, medially rotate, and flex the thigh. So it pulls the thigh inward. Can't really do that, but the thigh's going to move inward. The next one is the right here, and this muscle is called the adductor femoris, and its origin is also the pubis, and it inserts into the medial femur, and its action is to adduct the the femoris and the longus, so it also pulls the thigh inward. Let's see right here, this muscle. This one's called the semimembranosus, and its origin is the ischium, and it inserts into the medial epicondyle of the tibia, and its action is to extend the thigh and flex the knee. So extend is more like this way. Then there's the semitendinosus, which is right down here, that muscle. And this one, its origin is the ischial tuberosity, and it inserts into the medial side of the tibia right below the epicondyle, and its action is to also extend the thigh and flex the knee. Next up are the muscles of the post-lateral thigh. Over here we've got the gluteus medius, and this origin is near the ilium near the crest, and its insertion is down into the greater trochanter, and its action is to adduct and medially rotate the thigh. Right here we've got the gluteus maximus, and its origin is the transverse process of the sacral and caudal vertebrae, and its insertion is also down into the greater trochanter, and it is an extensor of the thigh. Let this focus. Okay, this right here, this is called the tensor fascia latae, and its origin is the iliac crest, and it inserts into the fascia lata, and its action is to steady the knee and the trunk. This muscle right here, this is the caudo femoralis, and it originates from the transverse process of the second, third, and fourth caudal vertebrae, and it inserts into the fascia lata that is anchored to the lateral border of the patella, and it acts to flex the tail laterally. This big muscle right here, this is called the biceps femoris. Its origin is the ischial tuberosity. Its insertion is the lateral tibia and patella and leg fascia, and it acts to flex the knee joint, laterally rotate the knee joint, and extend the hip joint. Then over here, we've got the semimembranosus again, and then the semitendinosus. The next muscles are the post-lateral of the leg. Move this aside. This big muscle right here. This is called the gastrocnemius, and its origin is the lateral and medial heads of the tibia, and its insertion is into the calcaneus via the Achilles tendon back here. And it acts to plantar flex the foot. Next to that right here, this is called the soleus, and its origin is the lateral and medial heads of the tibia, and it also inserts down into the calcaneus here, and it acts to also plantar flex the foot. Next to that, we've got the extensor digitorum longus, and its origin is the lateral epicondyle of the tibia, and its insertion is the middle and distal phalanges, 2 through 5, and it acts as a prime mover of the toe extension. Down here, this forward muscle, the anterior, is the tibialis anterior, and its origin is the proximal ends of the tibia and fibula, and it inserts into the first metatarsal. And it acts as a, let's see, what did that act? Oh yes, it acts as a prime mover of dorsiflexion, so it helps invert the foot. And then down inside here, we've got the fibularis muscles. The origin, of course, is the fibula, and it inserts into the metatarsals of the foot, and it helps flex the foot. So it helps flex the foot. And that is all.